When we think of hatred, we oftentimes think of a strong dislike or disdain towards someone or something. However, hatred is a slowly boiling pot with a slew of strong, ever changing emotions and logic. Sasuke Uchiha is a prime example of what it means to develop hate and how it festers and evolves over time. Today, we're going to be taking a look at how Sasuke went from this to this. To understand Sasuke's evolution, we must first understand the major events that led to who he became. Sasuke was a relatively quiet, quick-witted, and prodigious boy. Just like most children, his innocence was intact. During his earlier years, nothing about him was really off or strange. He viewed his brother Itachi as the benchmark of success, but little did he know Itachi would end up being the person he hated the most. When the Uchiha massacre occurred, it fundamentally broke all the qualities a child should have otherwise kept. Sasuke wandered around the community all night, only for no one to answer his desperate calls. When he arrived home, he found his parents lifeless on the ground. For a child, or even a person in general, seeing your whole family vanish and dead in one night is absolutely horrific. This would absolutely affect the way Sasuke views violence and death a lot, but I'll get into that later in the video. When Sasuke sees Itachi after finding everyone dead, it must have felt like finding a diamond in the rubble. However, Sasuke quickly found out the truth about Itachi, as Itachi confirms he killed everyone in one night in order to test his skills. Sasuke must have felt an immense disbelief and shock in revelation to what Itachi was saying. For him, Itachi was the kind of distant, talented older brother who couldn't hurt a fly. His whole childish and innocent worldview quickly crumbled beneath him in just moments. Itachi then instills the one motivation that drives him to do every single thing he does from this point onward. That being to hate, to kill his best friend, to let go of his humanity in order to avenge his clan. Sasuke then unlocks his One Tomoe Sharingan, subconsciously, that is, due to the immense hatred. Now this is enough to break most children, if not all, but on top of this, Itachi uses his Tsukuyomi to make Sasuke relive the events of that night over and over. This night broke Sasuke. For him, it wasn't just violence. It was betrayal and a loss of innocence, and the first feeling of hate he'd ever felt in his life. These emotions caused Sasuke to break down into a completely different person. From the outside, Sasuke was the same kid at the academy, albeit with a rumor circulating about his family. Everyone still found him impressive and saw him as a genius and prodigy. This likely made Sasuke feel even more distance from his peers, because they treated him more like a goalpost rather than an actual human. Though it's easy to say Sasuke was devoid of any feelings, there was one person who he felt a connection to. Someone who made him feel like a child, a human more than anything. That being Naruto. Naruto treated him like a rival, even if there wasn't really ever an actual rivalry. They were both alone for different reasons, but they both recognized the strong will within each other early on. This was likely Sasuke's main attachment to the village. They both disliked each other, but had a subconscious level of understanding that no one else in the village could relate to. This is likely what made him take longer to consider leaving the village later in the series. As Sasuke progressed and eventually graduated, his goal of defeating Itachi felt more and more realistic, but he didn't have the outside world experience to understand just how difficult this would truly be, alongside the sacrifices and compromise it would take to do so. This brings us to Sasuke's conception as an actual ninja. This is where Sasuke's development starts to change drastically. Most of his traits and character motivations derive from his genin days. Sasuke is placed under Kakashi's tutelage alongside Sakura and more importantly Naruto. It's important to note that Hiruzen purposefully assigned Sasuke to Kakashi's team, likely because of two reasons: his Sharingan and his understanding of how hatred can lead you down the path of no return. This is pivotal for later in this chapter. Sasuke is instantly introduced by stating his purpose after Kakashi questions his purpose as a ninja. He retorts by stating he wants to kill a certain someone, that obviously being Itachi. It's very clear to us that regardless of the context, Sasuke always has one thing on his mind. Whenever he sees someone stronger, he thinks of Itachi subconsciously. Whenever he thinks of his reason for living, he thinks of Itachi. During the break period of the bell test, Naruto is tied up and unable to eat his bento. Now, this moment is actually the most indicative of Sasuke's kindness. You would think between the innocent little girl and the edgelord introvert, Sakura would have been the one to offer her bento. In fact, she reprimands Naruto for his behavior, but Sasuke actually looks out for Naruto. He claims it's because it would impact the performance of their team, but in reality, he risked his whole future and career as a ninja just to help his friend. Keep in mind, Kakashi said they'd be forever disqualified if they helped Naruto. Sasuke was the sole reason why Team 7 passed. Sakura only helped after Sasuke offered because she liked Sasuke. Sasuke is innately thoughtful, kind, and selfless. He puts himself before others even at the risk of not completing his own goals. If you can still call Sasuke a heartless, selfish edgelord, then you have zero self-awareness. This might be the most sweet kid from his graduation class. A bit later on, when Team 7 goes to the Land of Waves to protect the bridge builder, Sasuke seems unentertained by the threats posed by being on this mission. This is relevant because it shows that his baseline expectation for the ninja world is still very low and childish. We also see his bond and rivalry with Naruto grow more and more, which likely immerses him into the life of a ninja and causes him to temporarily ignore the thoughts of vengeance. A big moment in this arc for Sasuke, or rather two crucial moments, are when he sees Kakashi and Zabuza fight. More specifically, when Kakashi gets trapped in the water prison jutsu. Sasuke is left to fend for himself alongside objectively less skilled comrades. Sasuke, seeing this level of combat and skill, humbles him completely. It shows him that these are trained killers, and that something like a D-tier mission can end up being a life or death scenario. Sasuke realizes very quickly that his own purpose and what he's lived for in his life is pointless in this scenario. He rethinks and recalibrates his survival software in moments. He thinks to himself that he's just a liability. Being the academy prodigy won't save him from a bloodthirsty Jonin, let alone Itachi. This life or death moment encapsulates the person who eventually leaves the village. The fear in him goes from making him give up to making his determination strengthen even more. When Sasuke is protecting Naruto from Haku, I believe this isn't just because he wants to protect Naruto. It's because he's literally going against what Itachi stands for. Sasuke lives his life considering his choices and what Itachi would do in those situations. Would Itachi save his comrades? Would Itachi spare someone? Those thoughts echo throughout the series up until Sasuke finds out the truth. Sasuke doesn't just hate Itachi, he wants to be nothing like him. This would likely explain why he couldn't answer Naruto's question as to why he protected him. He obviously cares for Naruto, but he also believes that letting Naruto die is something Itachi would do. Him awakening his Sharingan is also interesting, as it basically proves the desire to love and protect Naruto was the main driver for his choices. A lot of people actually don't recall back to this, but Tobirama post-Fourth War Revival explained the phenomenon of the Sharingan. He states that the Sharingan is activated during intense emotion, specifically love. So this narrative basically goes against the idea of hatred and trauma strengthening the Uchiha, and actually clarifies that Uchiha feel the most love out of anyone. Hatred is also associated with love, which explains why Uchiha often activated during times of loss and grief. Because you can't feel those emotions without love. Anyways, after the Land of Waves arc, this is when Sasuke likely feels the most connection he's ever felt to the village and people. For him, it's like there's two opposing forces pulling at him. the desire to become stronger and achieve revenge, and the love he feels for the few people that are really there for him. The Chunin exams began, and I'm specifically going to be going over the curse mark, the Forest of Death, and Orochimaru's impact on Sasuke. Orochimaru already had his eyes on Sasuke from the beginning, and unfortunately Sasuke had no choice but to be a victim. He was faced with the personification of evil and completely froze up. The bloodlust made Sasuke feel like prey, and he likely never forgot this moment. After Sasuke was given the curse mark, he was likely mortified and creeped out. But when he got up to save Sakura from the Sound Ninja, we see a different Sasuke. This was the most delight Sasuke has ever taken in hurting another person. He smiles and revels in the power he feels, and it nearly corrupts him. After he snaps out of it, he subconsciously realizes two things. The power he gained from this individual was tremendous, and now something inside him is urging him to find more from Orochimaru. He also realizes that the way he lost his humanity isn't who he is or wants to be. But I truly believe Sasuke understands this is the shortcut to defeat Itachi. The level of fear he felt from Orochimaru crushed his ego. This was the turning point for him, and where things went from revenge to revenge by any means. We slowly start to see his curiosity and self-loathing turn into a non-negotiable for strength, regardless of the source or risk. This is what I mentioned earlier about him sacrificing his humanity to achieve his goal, and Orochimaru takes complete advantage of this. At this point in the story, Sasuke's desire for revenge and hatred has been quelled by the reality that he's too weak, too inexperienced, and too attached to his current life playing ninja to kill Itachi. During the Konoha Crush arc, Sasuke and Naruto fight Gaara after he starts losing control. Sasuke initially performs well then gets overpowered, and this here is where I'd say Sasuke is 100% humbled by the last person he expected to be this powerful. Naruto has a full Kage level battle with Gaara and wins. Sasuke questions just what Naruto has been doing to become this strong. It's almost incomprehensible for him to see the same kid on the swing who couldn't perform the clone jutsu, to a giant toad summoning ninja fighting a tailed beast. He went from the best in his class to being outclassed by the guy who was the underdog in moments. Later on, Itachi and Kisame come to search for the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, that being Naruto of course. Sasuke ends up hearing about Itachi infiltrating the village and instantly searches for Naruto. In Sasuke's mind, he's wondering two things. Is Naruto worth something that I'm not? And why would he ever come back? Regardless, Sasuke eventually finds Naruto, and we see the pure, unadulterated rage that Sasuke has been holding back the whole time. He throws everything at him, only for Itachi to wipe the floor with him. Itachi breaks him once again, physically, emotionally, and mentally. He beats the crap out of Sasuke, and then tells him he doesn't have enough hate, and that he never will be on his level. He then continues to make him relive the massacre inside the Tsukuyomi. Sasuke is having a once-in-a-lifetime reminder through the worst possible method that he's still weak and soft, and that he'll never achieve his goal through the origin of his trauma, all at the age of 13 years old. When Sasuke wakes up, there's a different look in his eye. He throws Sakura's flowers to the side, and Naruto's obviously worried about him and there for him, but Sasuke doesn't even care. He wants to prove to himself that Naruto is just a joke, likely because he's been getting humbled so much that he needs a victory against someone he's grown alongside. Likely to feel in control because he hasn't for so long. At the end of the bout, Kakashi stops their clash, and initially Sasuke believes his Chidori was more powerful. Then he sees the back of the water tower Naruto's Rasengan hit, and he loses it. This was basically the final straw for Sasuke. In his mind, he should just be better than Naruto. And now, somehow on top of being dismantled by Itachi, the clown outdoes him as well. Now this next moment is vital, because it subconsciously explains the underlying issue and differences between Sasuke and Kakashi. Kakashi restrains Sasuke and tries to give him guidance on hatred in fighting his comrades. However, a big thing that Kakashi fails to do is empathize with him instead of trying to hold the parental role. He's the closest thing Sasuke has to a father figure, but even Kakashi admits later on he failed to acknowledge Sasuke's actual issues. Sasuke considers Kakashi's words, but by this point it was simply too late. Sasuke had already seen enough and was ready to obtain a new level of power. Later on, the Sound Four pressed Sasuke about leaving, and leave him with conflicting thoughts about what both they and Kakashi had told him. Like I said earlier, Sasuke has two different sides pulling him into the right and wrong direction. Though for him, the right direction is wrong, and the wrong direction is right, if you catch my drift. Sasuke eventually makes the decision to leave the village, and before he heads out, Sakura happens to be in the way. This moment is seemingly unimportant, but when you take a second to consider Sakura's presence rather than her impact, it really represents one thing. Sakura is the innocence in the leaf, the reminder of what Sasuke is choosing to leave behind. He does feel bad. He knows Sakura poses no threat. That's why it impacts him even more. He isn't being told what to do. He's being begged by the person he played ninja with to stay, to not abandon the bonds and future he had in the village. It's truly a more important moment than what people give it credit for. This is also the last time we really see Sasuke show any level of emotional connection to the leaf without aggression. Though ultimately, the truth is, Sasuke's purpose is to be an avenger. He didn't have the same life as anyone else, not even by a long shot. When Naruto fights Sasuke in the final valley, he's trying to sever his ties with the leaf. He isn't doing this out of spite. He sees that the place he needs to be to defeat Itachi and the leaf are two different worlds entirely. Naruto is the only person who can potentially stop Sasuke here, and Sasuke knows Naruto won't give up until the very end. After Sasuke barely wins, I feel like he truly separated himself from his origins and completed his goal of detachment. Also, one thing I'd like to add is the thematic element of Kakashi being too late to stop the two of them. It's a small nod to Kakashi typically being late, and mainly when he was late to the first group meetup. But anyways, Sasuke eventually makes it to Orochimaru, and the next 2 years make Sasuke a completely different person. I've always believed Sasuke never actually was going to give his body to Orochimaru. When Naruto used to ask Sasuke why he'd go to Orochimaru, I always thought it was weird because it seemed clear that Sasuke never fully intended to give himself over. He was simply using Orochimaru to maximize his power and abandon him. And that's precisely what Sasuke did. Sasuke also knew Orochimaru was a scumbag. Sasuke never respected him. For him it was just business, and it was the same way for Orochimaru. Sasuke already left the village for power, which was likely the hardest decision he made in his life. I also titled it this way because Sasuke ends up shedding his old beliefs and goals for new ones, and literally loses his curse mark, aka the connection to Orochimaru from Itachi. But I'll get into that in a bit. Anyways, Sasuke is introduced as a much more calm and calculated individual. When Team 7 finds Sasuke, he stares at them with empty eyes, and almost immediately goes for the quote-unquote kill on Naruto. It's important to note that Sasuke didn't do this out of malice. He did this because he recognized the last dead ends that needed to be cut off. Even though he actually wasn't going to kill them, he tried to bring himself to. So this Sasuke is completely detached from his comrades and seems fully logic-based and level-headed. We can only assume that he's been desensitized after being around Orochimaru for so long, which would explain his callousness. Later on, after Heavy Sasuke has reached his full potential, both Orochimaru and Sasuke are going to betray each other. Orochimaru needs a new body, so I guess he's not really betraying him. But Sasuke doesn't want to owe Orochimaru anything, and recognizes he's scum who doesn't deserve to be alive. The way Sasuke describes himself is like he's completely evolved from a baby bird coiled by a snake to the fully grown hawk that hunts the snake. I like this because it basically shows the audience that Sasuke is ready to move on his own. He doesn't need Orochimaru anymore. When he's done killing him, Sasuke walks out the room and Kabuto is there. And this was the moment where I realized that this is a completely different Sasuke. He was so confident in himself and aware enough to know that there is physically nothing Kabuto could do to him, and he also knew Kabuto wouldn't even bother attacking him in the first place. Sasuke then begins to go to all the hideouts in order to recruit members for Hebi, and the treatment toward Hebi honestly felt like he wanted some semblance of Team 7, albeit with a couple of differences. But it truly seemed like he cared about them as people, even if he was trying to use them just to achieve his goal, killing Itachi. To get to Itachi, Sasuke needs to defeat Deidara. Something about this Sasuke that stands out is that he's actually a pacifist for the most part. If someone isn't involved with him, or if he doesn't need to kill, he typically won't. We see this when Orochimaru talks about how Sasuke fought 1,000 samurai at the same time, and incapacitated but didn't kill a single one. Sasuke clearly isn't a malicious person during this part of the story, which is important to note for his fight against Deidara. When Sasuke encounters Deidara, he doesn't want to fight, and demands to know where Itachi is. Deidara, who hates Itachi, sees his younger brother and wants any form of revenge on him. Sasuke insists once more that he doesn't want to fight, and Deidara just doesn't care. This is big for Sasuke. It shows he doesn't like to fight unless he truly needs to. After their battle, Sasuke looks for Itachi and finds him in the abandoned Uchiha hideout. There was a clear difference between this Sasuke and Genin Sasuke. It's this quiet confidence, the type that shows he knows he's on Itachi's level now, or at least around it. Now, Itachi is holding back a bit during this fight while also being nerfed, but for Sasuke this battle is to die for. Itachi tries to mentally play with Sasuke to get in, Itachi tries to mentally play with Sasuke to get in his head, and even fakes being psychotic just for Sasuke to want to defeat him more. When all is said and done, Sasuke falls unconscious, and this is where things get very interesting. Sasuke wakes up tied up in front of Tobi, and almost immediately he's hit with Amaterasu. This is always an interesting topic because things could have went very, very differently here. Itachi knew Tobi would tell Sasuke the truth to manipulate him, but unfortunately his plan doesn't work. Tobi begins to tell Sasuke the truth, and of course Sasuke is appalled at the news. Sasuke starts hyperventilating and having a breakdown. Everything he's done up until this point may have been for nothing. The training, the leaving the village, Orochimaru, fighting his brother, all for nothing. This may be one of the most realistic and heart-shattering moments in Naruto. People oftentimes don't understand just how damaging this is to someone who lived for one purpose. Just imagine doing all of this only to find out the person you dedicated your blood, sweat, and tears to killing was actually forced to kill your family by the village that's supposed to protect you. Imagine you killed your own brother without knowing he loved you and was forced to kill your family. That would make any teenage boy go insane. When Sasuke awakens the Mangekyo Sharingan, he's literally crying uncontrollably. This is the first time we see him cry since he was a child. Not because he's sad, but because he lost his purpose. He genuinely doesn't know what to believe or what to do. Sasuke, a 15-year-old, has seen more trauma in his life than most would in centuries. This is the point in the story where people often call Sasuke an emo crybaby and reprimand him for using zero logic, but his anger is 100% valid. Sasuke is then recruited to the Akatsuki, and his whole agenda slowly begins to change. He is desperate for a purpose, but can't yet find one amidst his pain and suffering. Sasuke disbands Hebi, meaning snake, and creates Taka, which means hawk, giving him a new purpose and goal.
Is to destroy the hidden leaf.
This is by far the most transformative arc for Sasuke in terms of his emotional development. Sasuke is at a point where he really doesn't want to be alone. This is partly why he has Taka, because as I mentioned earlier, he is subtly reminded of Team 7. For example, Suigetsu matches Naruto's lax attitude and sense of humor. Karin matches Sakura's desperation for Sasuke and her assistance role. Then Jugo is like a mentor for Sasuke, who sort of keeps the maturity of the team in check. Jugo is like the moral anchor and calm inside the storm of the team. sort of making up for Sasuke's loss of recent composure after his recent exposure to the truth. Though I know that might sound ironic considering Jugo literally crashes out every other second. During the battle with Killer Bee, who is an objectively next level opponent and is true strong for the team, Taka works in great unison, which subconsciously reminds Sasuke of what it was like to work with Team 7. Since Sasuke is in a more emotionally prone state, he is naturally going to be more reactive toward anything related to the village. This is a rare version of Sasuke we only see for a bit. He's basically in an emotionally reactive and somewhat calm state, which is kind of strange to see. When Taka is in danger, he freaks out and uses Amaterasu for the first time, as well as Entan Kakatsuchi to quell the flames. This development is huge because his eyes develop with the intensity of his emotion. And here is the tragic irony. To protect his new home he's built with Taka, Sasuke has to rely on the Mangekyo, the very power that marks him as his brother's successor. Every time he unleashes those black flames, he isn't just fighting an opponent, he's forced to wield the ghost of the man who ruined his life. It's a constant burning reminder that even in his quest for autonomy, he is still trapped in Itachi's shadow. Now, interestingly enough, Sasuke's Mangekyo doesn't just grant him Amaterasu, it grants him flame control, or blaze release, or Entan, like I said, it doesn't really matter. It's the perfect manifestation of his character who has lived his entire life in a chaotic, uncontrollable fire, finally forcing that fire to obey his will. Whether it's intentional or not, it does fit the theme. Sasuke refuses to be a victim of his own power. He insists on being the one holding the leash. Now on to Sasuke's most controversial phase, 5 Kage Summit Sasuke. Sasuke officially has a goal after Tobi tells him Danzo is going to be at the summit, and that he's one of the main reasons the clan was wiped out. For Sasuke, this isn't just a target, it's someone he can take his rage out on without feeling bad at all. Once Sasuke arrives at the summit, he's in a state of pure emotion. He's purely here to question and kill Danzo, and anyone who gets in his way is just as much to blame as Danzo. This battle essentially symbolizes Sasuke's rage against Danzo's systematic oppression. Danzo is the literal embodiment of all of Sasuke's suffering, and boy does he show him how angry he is. This is the lowest Sasuke falls in the entire series, and it's genuinely understandable. This isn't just a fight either. Danzo taunts Sasuke and makes excuses for his actions, and this all gets worse when Sasuke sees Danzo's left arm full of Sharingan eyes. This is just absolutely disturbing, and Sasuke's hatred spiking here is justified. Danzo is a spineless prick with no limits to how far he'll go. Sasuke fights ruthlessly here as well, and all the while he's still asking Danzo for answers. The battle comes to a point where Danzo is about to lose, and Karin is taken hostage strategically by Danzo. Now, I don't think any previous form of Sasuke would have done this, at least what he did here. But Hichidori streams Danzo straight through the chest while also nearly killing Karin with a straight up maniacal look on his face. He doesn't even care about other casualties like I said earlier. Sasuke views anyone in his way of Danzo as collateral damage. This is a completely heartless and detached Sasuke we see here. After Danzo dies, Sakura arrives early and tries to trick Sasuke into trusting her. Sasuke is clearly skeptical and tests her by telling her to finish off his comrade Karin, the person who healed him and did anything for him. Sakura's slight hesitation was enough for Sasuke to try to kill her. Then Naruto comes in the nick of time, and the look on both of their faces tells a whole story. Kakashi eventually shows up and questions his former student as to why he'd do such a thing. People call this his evil turn, but look closer at his eyes. When Kakashi questions him, Sasuke doesn't get angry, he just laughs. And it isn't because he's enjoying the chaos. It's because he's reached a level of detachment where the moral framework Kakashi is standing on feels like a joke. Sasuke has spent his whole life being lied to, manipulated, and isolated. And seeing his past try to pull him back into a world he knows is a lie, it's just tragic. He's not laughing at them, he's laughing at the absolute absurdity of his own life. He's just done trying to explain, he's done trying to justify, and he's done trying to be a person. At this point, the only way to process that level of isolation is just to let it all burn. Explaining yourself during a psychotic break is like trying to hold in a laugh while also holding in tears at the same time. Now, Kakashi is a realist. He knows Sasuke is too far gone in this moment, and Kakashi goes from trying to save Sasuke to trying to kill him. Sasuke's retort is utterly horrifying. He tells his own former sensei, "Go ahead and try. I'm just itching to kill you, Kakashi." Or Kakashi, sorry. It's just ironic. The man who taught him to use the Chidori to protect his friends is using it to kill his teacher. Sasuke continues to mock Kakashi as well. He mocks the Sharingan that Obito lended him, and makes him feel bad about just having it. This is a trigger for both characters, because Kakashi is constantly reminded of his failures as a comrade and teacher by letting Obito and Rin die, and now his own student is guilt-tripping him over it. And Sasuke is reminded of how his clan's eyes are nothing but a tool to the leaf, which pisses him off even more. When they both decide to go for the kill, Naruto holds Kakashi back and clashes with Sasuke. This moment is important for Naruto, but mainly Sasuke. If Naruto wasn't there, I think the situation would have escalated a lot. Sasuke, after his brawl with Kakashi, is near blindness, and Obito is ready to take him. But instead of immediately leaving, he asks Naruto one question. "What do you want from me? Why are you so obsessed with me?" Now obviously he didn't say it in that tone, but anyways. Of course, Naruto responds by affirming to Sasuke that he's his friend. Now, this is kind of a meme to most people in the Naruto fanbase, but let me explain why this is what Sasuke actually wants to hear. Sasuke waits around to listen to Naruto. Sasuke doesn't ever kill Naruto or ignore him. Sasuke sees his friend lost in the gutter feeling hopeless, and Naruto might not understand Sasuke's exact struggle, but he sees someone who's crying for help. You may be asking, okay then, why doesn't Sasuke just talk to Naruto? Sasuke knows the only person who understands him is Naruto, and in his mind, he knows Naruto won't give up, and truth be told, it makes him feel loved because he was the only person who ever really never gave up on him. This is something that is referenced later in the series. Sasuke is objectively too far gone and he knows this, but knowing one person from his past is there is subconsciously enough for him. It's weird for him to understand why Naruto would go so far. At this point, the tragedy isn't that they're enemies, it's that they're the only two people who know the truth about each other. Sasuke isn't trying to ignore Naruto, he's trying to drown out the one voice that reminds him of who he used to be. He doesn't kill Naruto because deep down, he's terrified of being truly alone. Think back to the Final Valley. After Naruto was knocked out, he didn't kill him. When Heavy Sasuke reunited with Team 7, he seemingly didn't kill him because of Orochimaru's order, but the truth is, this is just an excuse. The one person he doesn't have the will to kill is Naruto. If he wanted to do it, he would have done it. He's angry at himself because he only has a bond with Naruto. Every time Naruto comes back, it pisses him off even more, but at the same time he wants the world to burn for what it did to his family. But subconsciously, he needs Naruto to keep standing there, to keep telling him he's not a monster. Because if Naruto ever stops, then Sasuke truly has no good to look back on. This is the one thing keeping Sasuke from collapsing. We see it at his lack of retort against Naruto. If you were down a deep hole of regret and trauma mixed with bad choices, and the one person who somewhat understood you and loved you like a brother kept telling you he values you, it would be hard to bring yourself to kill him. That's why Sasuke sticks to just cutting him off. Sasuke ends up getting his brother's eyes shortly after and attains the EMS, or the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Sasuke states he can see everything clearly for what it is, but this isn't just physical. He is no longer trying to find a target, no longer searching for answers. He has a clear goal in mind, the outright destruction of the Leaf, avenging Itachi and his clan. Though there's an irony here. The better Sasuke can see, the less he sees the humanity of the people he's going to destroy.
And whatever you do from here on out, know this. No matter what, I will love you always.
In Chapter 4, we saw a boy drowning in his own trauma, lashing out at everything because he didn't know how to stop the pain. But now, with the eternal Mangekyo, the confusion is gone. The rage has been replaced by a cold, surgical focus. But there's a catch. He paid for Itachi's eyes with the cost of his own soul in order to achieve his mission. The more he chases his goal, the more he loses himself. Itachi eventually reunites with Sasuke as his reanimated self, and they work together to defeat Kabuto. Itachi then asks Sasuke what he will do while knowing all this, and in his grief, Sasuke initially doubles down, deciding he will destroy the leaf to avenge the suffering Itachi endured. However, he was stuck at a crossroads. Despite Itachi's wisdom, Sasuke's heart remained hardened. Before fading away, Itachi consoles Sasuke, letting him know that he will always love him, and this moment is huge for Sasuke. He was able to ask the source of his pain every question he had, and he needed this. Even if he didn't change his mind, he feels more loved and reassured than he likely ever has in a long time, but his heart still stays hardened. Despite his goal, Sasuke still feels he needs ultimate answers, and to get them, he revives Orochimaru to resurrect the 4 dead Hokage. Sasuke isn't looking for a fight though. He's auditing the architects of his misery. He wants to look them in the eye and explain why his brother had to die for their peace. But the tragedy of the EMS is that he's already blinded by his own resentment. He's not listening for wisdom, he's waiting for them to prove him right. When Hashirama starts talking about the village, Sasuke doesn't hear a mentor. He hears the same systemic lie that destroyed his life. He probes deeper, challenging the very foundation of the Hokage's legacy, testing if they have any moral ground to stand on when their greatest good required the systematic erasure of his family. To Sasuke, their answers are just outdated rationalizations for failure, the same bureaucratic excuses that forced Itachi to slaughter his own people. This is where Sasuke's psychology shifts from simple revenge to something much darker. He begins to view the Uchiha trauma not just as a personal grievance, but as a symptom of a terminal societal disease. He convinces himself that the shinobi system is fundamentally built on the blood of the weak and the marginalized. By holding the Hokage accountable, he's essentially trying to perform an autopsy on the very concept of the village. He believes that if he can dissect their logic and find it wanting, he earns the moral mandate to tear the whole structure down. He is effectively weaponizing his own pain, turning it into a framework for absolute, uncompromising governance. Ultimately, Sasuke decides that he won't destroy the leaf because it would go against everything Itachi did for him in the village, though it's clear that he does want to bring judgment in the form of revolution. Sasuke thinks he's breaking the cycle, but he's actually just restarting it. He tells the world he wants to be a Hokage, and they laugh because they see a criminal. But Sasuke doesn't care about their approval. He doesn't want their love or their votes. He wants their submission. He's convinced himself that his path is the only one that will prevent another Itachi. He's traded his rage for a cold, absolute conviction. The same conviction that once turned the founders of the village into the very monsters he's trying to overthrow. Sasuke hasn't saved himself. He's just become a more powerful, more dangerous version of the very system he set out to destroy. He's trying to respect his brother and find a new answer, but the answer was to start a new problem in order to find a solution. The thing is, the answer to the problem will restart the process of hatred. A dictator with unresolved hatred and pain will only reinstate the same problems onto others. Sasuke doesn't have the ability to see through the lens of a healed, rational person. He is essentially telling himself that he's okay and that he can bear the weight of all the hatred in the world. He is trapped by his own messiah complex, attempting to insulate the world from pain by becoming its ultimate oppressor. He's trying to be responsible for the actions of himself and others, when he doesn't even understand the psychology of the system he seeks to control, and he doesn't yet have the power to truly enforce his dominion. He's playing the role of a god who refuses to understand the mortals he intends to rule. But soon enough, he eventually finds the conclusion and the power to do so, but one final obstacle lies in the way of his agenda, the entity that he needs to erase in order to change the world: Naruto. After Sasuke gains his Rinnegan from Hagoromo and Kaguya is defeated, the immediate threat that's been resolved now gives way to the true intentions of each character, especially Sasuke. Hagoromo watches as the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura are about to decide what will happen next. The Rinnegan is the ultimate manifestation of his god complex. It is no longer just a weapon, but the physical tool he uses to force his subjective truth onto an objective world. Sasuke plans to initiate his ideology and enforce it over the whole ninja world. He seals all the tailed beasts within the Chubaku Tensei as a power move to stop anyone from testing him. Now Sasuke is officially ready to commence his revolution, but there's one last thing in his way, the thing that is with him wherever he goes, the last bond he has to sever. He then tells Naruto to come meet him at the place that it all started. All the systemic problems, all the corruption, the differences between two mindsets that shape the entire world, where their predecessors fought for their beliefs. The final valley. Sasuke opens the battle with killing intent, whereas Naruto is implied to have been trying to win without killing Sasuke. Naruto, even now, symbolizes the one thing that won't let him descend into darkness, while also stopping him from hurting others. Sasuke is at his most determined point in the story. He has an unrealistic belief that there's no other way for shinobi. Sasuke can only be proven wrong in one way, through an unmovable force. After the battle, Sasuke asks Naruto one more time why he cares so much, what he wants from him. Naruto simply says, "Because you're my friend." The reason this affects Sasuke so heavily is because from 12 to 16 years old, despite everything, Naruto has always been there. Even after the world has almost ended, and Sasuke wants to take it over, Naruto just doesn't see Sasuke as someone worth losing. Sasuke finally understands. No matter what Sasuke does to Naruto, he'll always be there to stop him, but he will never try to cut him off or kill him. Sasuke contemplates for a moment, but realizes three things. 1. There's simply no arguing with Naruto. 2. He cares about him more than anyone. And 3. Naruto gave up everything just to save a friend. Sasuke performing the unison sign with Naruto isn't just about the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura ceasing their quarrel. It's Sasuke acknowledging Naruto for everything he's done. For being the strongest ninja to ever exist, and also admitting his wrongdoings and accepting that he can't change what's happened in the past, but he can change how he goes on into the future. Sasuke's problem, his issues were simple, but became complex the more he pursued a solution. The moral of Sasuke's story is that trying to solve a problem all on your own and pushing away those who care for you results in loss of your humanity, and a downward spiral into madness. Sasuke was born into extremely terrible circumstances, and ironically, the more he pursued answers and solutions, the more chaotic he became. Sasuke is innately a calm, quiet, and loving person who was dealt one of the most unfair hands in fiction. Yet despite everything, he found redemption in the things he initially abandoned. Sasuke's story proves that however alone you may feel, there's always someone there. Though there is one part of Sasuke that we often don't consider. Sasuke is incredibly righteous. Most kids would never go as far as he did to avenge their clan. He went through trial and error, put blood, sweat, and tears in just to make his own brother pay for ruining his life. Most would lose their sanity entirely or succumb to the cycle of hatred for good. Sasuke was the only person who could break the cycle of hatred while being on the tail side of the coin. Overall, Sasuke was never evil or malicious. He was always a good person who had to go through the gutter to find out that revenge wasn't the answer. Reconciliation was.